if you think about it, the initial Dutch case can be set out really simply. The basic position is they find a Japanese soldier, he's walking around the battlements, he's there at a time when he shouldn't be there, he shouldn't be on the battlements at all, he's asking all sorts of questions which he shouldn't be asking. It's very suspicious, and on the back of that, they decide this gives a cause for inquiry, and they proceed to interrogate him and then move on to torture, and the whole plot unravels. And you can see that set out in the 1624 Remonstrance. But if you push that slightly, and not very hard at all, you begin to see the entire position unravels. Look at the 1626 deposition of the Amboina judges. First of all, this Japanese soldier is not apprehended in the act of doing what he's doing at all. What you've got is a report to Karel Huell being informed by some Dutchman after the event that this happened. So you've got hearsay at twice removed. Secondly, the idea was that this Japanese soldier was deliberately targeting the younger soldiers, vulnerable people, people who wouldn't report necessarily. Again, if you look at the 1626 deposition, that's not what it says. It says some of the younger soldiers were targeted, but it also says that soldiers on guard were questioned. The idea that questions were asked at the time when people were at prayer. Look at the 1626 deposition, and it suggests something quite different. It says there were questions asked in the morning, questions asked at daybreak, and questions asked in the evening. When you look at the questions themselves, the questions that were asked, they're fairly bland, and they're the kinds of questions which you would think are relevant to any soldier who wants to know how well this castle is defended. Not least, one suspects, because he might want to know how well he's being defended. So, pushing the simple case with any effort at all, interrogating it in any way, immediately begins to show how difficult it is. And the simple case as presented by the Dutch doesn't appear to be the kind of questions, the kind of case that they say or that they rely on at all. Now, there is one point about this, though, which gives some concern, to me at least, and that's that you see Shichizo on the wall. He's not supposed to be on the wall. And when he's asked why he's on the wall, some accounts at any rate, he denies that he was there at all. He lies. Now that is a really interesting question for any judge who's looking at this, because the judge is going to say, well, he's told an untruth. How does that affect the credit we should give to the rest of his evidence? In my experience, it's a very bad idea to assume because someone lies about one thing, that they're lying about everything. And there could be a whole host of reasons in this case why he says what he says, one of which is if he's not supposed to be on the wall, he probably doesn't want to get into trouble for being on the wall at all. And that gives him an extremely good reason for saying, I wasn't there. In order to assess the weight of his lie, it seems to me that what you would need to look at is the context in which it was given. How serious was the offence of walking on the wall? Is it something that he would be particularly concerned about? Would a conscientious Japanese soldier wanted to go up on the wall to see what was being done? These are kinds of questions which don't come through the depositions. They're not addressed, and it seems to me a matter of concern that they aren't.